All right, here we go, everybody. On this beautiful Wednesday, we are going to be starting in just a couple moments. Good afternoon, one and all. I'm going to just check. I think the audio should be fine. Gian says the audio is good. So, and then we're going to begin. Give you the latest now. Just check the audio. The audio sounds fine to me. Okay. As we begin a new month. Yep. There we go. Oh, okay. Hi there, Pat. Pat's first one in. Okay. A lot of things seem unsettled in the country, but pretty confident. Good afternoon, Bill. There we go. There's Chuck. Ah, I wish I could go to Jamestown and visit Miss Charlie's. There's our friend Bill. Yep. No longer, though. So I have a child who, you know, because of the shutdown, they're not working. But I believe it'll be resolved. There's a lot of nonsense that they need to take out, and and also, and everyone can weigh in. There's Ron Marshall. Hi there, Carlos. Um, this whole business of illegals getting free health care, I don't like the idea of that. And not only that, but they're trying to put a lot of stuff back in as far as funding for NPR and all that other fool. I don't get that. And no, I don't think we should. It's expensive enough. And we know. I mean, we've talked about it. Every time you see and they go into the emergency room and they're guaranteed that they have to be seen and taken care of, but they don't have insurance. So you pay for that. I pay for that. There's Ron Marshall. Yes. I know. I agree with Bill. Yeah, we're not doing that. Let them join the real world like everybody else. Oh no, this tote bags and no. Why? Why? Let them compete. Let's see just how popular they are. So, but we're going to start off. I believe we have a special guest. It's going to join us at 1:30. And double check on that. We also just check a couple other things as we're going to start in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Of course. Oh, okay. Of course, Bad Bunny's Super Bowl show will be a landmark moment for Puerto Rico. Is that what it's all about? Really? So that's what the Super Bowl now is? Okay. That's interesting. It is a hi there, Tammy. This is Tammy wishing everyone a good afternoon. Yep. Let me just double check. And we're going to start in 1 minute out. 1 minute out. And we'll see what's out there. Later on. in 1 minute. And we are going to begin, folks. Good afternoon. What another delightful welcome to October as we start a new month. There's Jane Rice. There's everybody, folks. Remember, you can, if you want to watch or listen to the program, interact with others. There's Heather. You can do it. We have our Facebook page. Right now, we're live on X. We are live on YouTube. And we're also obviously live on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. You can always listen online at our website, depetro.com. I'm seeing a lot of beautiful colors out there. I think a lot of people are visiting PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. 3688 Quaker in North Kingstown. They have really outdone themselves, and they have what a tremendous selection they have right now. You know, it does make a difference when you have beautiful mums, and they have outstanding mums, which I see so many people that are taking advantage of all the beautiful selection they have of homegrown mums and kale at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now they also have pumpkins, straw bales, corn stalks, gourds, Indian corn, native vegetables. It's all right there. This is the ideal time for planting because of obviously cooler at night, not as warm during the day, but still nice sunshine. And they have a great selection of trees, shrubs, perennials. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. All right, I want to talk about there's a couple of stories that are in the news that we're going to touch on, but I want to remind you, we'll have it up a little bit later. There's definitely a little bit of controversy regarding what happened with Coventry. And I'm always, I'm kind of, I guess, surprised that sometimes family members start rushing and taking to social media and say nothing could be done and blah, blah, blah. But folks, depetro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. And remember, they can handle large groups. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. All right. I want to, here we go. And we'll go like that. Okay. Actually, there's two stories, and they're not, I don't think they're getting the attention that they should. Probably just because of the way our local media, how they kind of operate. But I think they're worth mentioning. And I want to credit the North Providence Police. I think right now they're being very, very proactive. And as far as the North Providence Police, I would argue right now they have to be proactive because of the number of gang members that are out there right now in different parts of the city. They made two huge stops, meaning the North Providence Police did. And it was so good to have David from Brood Awakenings on, because on the one hand, you have, as he said, you have Governor Mckee, who is trying to take away people's weapons. And then at the same time, you have the amount of weapons that are out there right now and the people that are riding around with them. It's pretty frightening. And so I want to credit North Providence Police. And many times when we're out and we're on road patrol, sometimes people are surprised because they'll say, oh, that's just a traffic stop. But what the North Providence Police are finding is, by being proactive, they're finding people and they're riding around with unregistered, loaded handguns. So, and I'm going to show you two pictures right now. So North Providence Police, I think they run a very, very good police department. And they're one of those areas that in many ways, it could almost go either way. A lot of the people that they're catching in North Providence, they're not residents of North Providence, but because of where they're situated close to Providence and Pawtucket, North Providence is one of those regions that they're catching some people. And when you think about that, especially it's an unregistered gun, you have Governor Mckee, who's doing everything in his power to try to limit, and the progressives at the State House, they're trying to do everything in their power to try to limit your ability, a law-abiding citizen's ability to have a weapon. And at the same time, there's like an uptick, excuse me, in individuals that are traveling around with loaded weapons. And I'm going to show you just two. This is just in the past 3 days. The past 3 days who they've got. But I want to remind you about Propane Plus. Folks, remember Propane Plus. Now, this is an energy source that we could get behind. This is energy for everyone. So whether it's residential or commercial, heating or cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. Now, they have a very user-friendly website, and check it out, propaneplus.com, residential or commercial. And then for whether it's for heating or cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. So again, it's the Johnson family. What a fantastic job they do. What I like and also demonstrate is obviously they are available 24/7 with that very user-friendly website. And it's propaneplus.com. And then you just type in your zip code. You can depend on Propane Plus. So I want to show you exactly who I'm talking about. Now, this is just in the past 3 days. Started on Sunday night, and then they just got another one today, as a matter of fact. So this is who's, and by the way, I want to reemphasize, many times when we're out on Road Patrol Live, and we try to show you, folks, no program tries to demonstrate more frequently and accurately of who's out there on the street. More than, I mean, we have cornered the market with it. So, but I want to show you who I'm talking about. So this is the type of person who is riding around in North Providence and has a loaded handgun. And North Providence police, thank goodness, pulled over the vehicle, noticed, by the way, unlicensed, no license, I believe. Car was expired. So they do a car stop, Woonsoquatucket Avenue, driving with suspended license, suspended registration. And then as they're going through the vehicle, front driver's side, dark pocket, a 12-round ammunition. Hold on. I have his, I don't know why it's not coming up. I have his name and everything. I don't know why it's not showing up there. But this is an example. So riding through North Providence, it was like 12 o'clock at night. And where's he headed with the loaded weapon? Where is, I had his name. John Ellis Goins of Providence. There he is. So where is he going with a loaded weapon? And North Providence police made the stop, and they have to. And then this is just this morning, today, that suddenly they notice someone driving erratically on Mineral Spring Avenue. Nope, that's not the one. Pull the person over. I'll pull it up right now. And we just posted this. And again, this time, grabbed a ghost gun. So now that is the type. There we go. There's the type. So maybe I will do it like that. Yeah. No, drive with a loaded gun. Now he's from Pawtucket. He's in one of the Pawtucket gangs. Henry B. Nice guy, not his fault. You know, it's too bad he was just on the verge of he was about to turn his life around. He was just getting his act together. Isn't that what the family always says? No, no, he's oh yeah, he does. Absolutely. So, and let me just go through the release that the North Providence police put out. I recognize that if you're listening to the radio, you're saying I'm not seeing what everyone's seeing, but everyone else on X and YouTube and Facebook, you can see it. This morning, North Providence police patrolmen conducted a motor vehicle stop on Middle Spring Avenue after observing the vehicle to have numerous motor vehicle violations. Contact made with the operator, Louis Braban, who is a member of Bucket West, notorious Pawtucket street gang, 24 years old. He was driving with a suspended license and the vehicle was unregistered. During the vehicle inventory search, officers located a 9mm Ghost handgun hiding underneath the front passenger seat floorboard and a 9-round magazine. So there you go. I know. Yeah, that's right. Can you imagine? I don't know how he can see like that. Yeah, he does look like completely high as a kite. I don't know if he was going to yeah, that's right. I don't know if he was going to work at a daycare center. Can you imagine as people are saying, hey, listen, the guy's just trying to make his way to work. So I'm not convinced of that. So this is going on right now in North Providence. And what I'm saying is, and this is important, is notice that the North Providence police, they have to be proactive. Because if they're not proactive, this is who's riding around. Now, this one, there he is. This was Sunday night. North Providence Police Patrolman, motor vehicle stop, Winnisquatucket Avenue, observing the vehicle to have numerous motor vehicle violations. Operator John Ellis, age 26, a Providence resident. He was driving, wait for it, spoiler alert, suspended license and suspended registration. I'm just glad that doesn't prevent them from riding around. During the vehicle inventory search report, officers located Taurus G2C 9mm handgun hiding underneath the front driver's seat and a 12-round magazine in the front door pocket and a Mckee for Governor sticker in the car. I think that's interesting. Folks, do you notice there's a pattern here? Isn't it interesting? Why would they be... I don't know if he was wearing white socks with Crocs, but why would these two individuals, I think we know the answer, why are they riding with Mckee for Governor stickers in the vehicle? So now again, North Providence Police, they're riding with loaded handguns, obviously unregistered. Yeah, that's right. He does have a voter ID. So this is what we're talking about. Now, here's the thing. I'm already understand by already, let me tell you what's going on. By just highlighting to you who it is that's being arrested. I know. Let me see that. Driving with suspended license is frowned upon, not his fault. It's true. Yeah. Gee, I wonder why they want Mckee for Governor. Maybe because I don't know which one. Both of them. There's a certain hairstyle. They certainly like the long hair. That's for sure. So, but notice that this is North Providence Police. They are catching gang members riding with loaded handguns in North Providence. So now, I think it's a fair question to ask. Where are they going? What's so important that riding along unregistered vehicle and driving on a suspended license? And the answer is, neither one. But if North Providence Police, if they had not pulled them over, where were they headed? But I want to tell you the reaction that's going to come out of this. But folks, I want to remind you about Kids Club. Don't forget Kids Club on the Pike. Now, they're in a safe location, unlike what we saw in Coventry. Though that is a busy road, and they go fast on that road, and you saw what happened. Kids Club on the Pike, where they host birthday parties, but they also have before and after school programs, summer camp, preschool programs. Kids Club on the Pike. And they're located right on Plainfield Pike on the Cranston-Johnson line, right off of 295. But before and after school care for your child or grandchild, they provide transportation for school-age children ages 5 through 12. Also preschool, half and full day program, preschool children 3 through 5. Kids Club on the Pike. And of course, it's fantastic for if your child is on a team. So whether it's a soccer team, and I used to coach youth soccer, and then we're wondering, all right, where are we going to have the end of the year banquet, little team get together. Most of the time it's, we'd end up like at a pizza place, but the kids want to run around, and Kids Club on the Pike would be perfect for something like that. 401-443-5336. I heard from a mother, they had a cheerleading party. So all the kids that are in the cheerleading team, they wanted to have a cheerleading party. These are little kids. And one of the parents said, oh, let's have it at Dave & Buster's at Providence Place Mall. One of the children, 9 years old, was robbed in the food court on their way into Dave & Buster's. Gee, I wonder why Providence Place Mall is for sale. Folks, you are not going to get that problem at Kids Club on the Pike. Nice and safe. Now, as a result of this, as you can imagine, the rest of the media, they ignore a lot of these stories. By me simply posting the picture that North Providence Police arrested this individual this morning, riding with a loaded ghost gun through North Providence. By merely putting this up, what do you think starts to go? Oh, racist. Listen, it's not racist. For the people, and then some of the people, I used to wonder, where are they coming up with the racist stuff? Why do they say that? Well, you only highlight crime that involve, people that are Hispanic or brown or people of color. Yeah. This year so far, the two cases that have taken up the most of my time were the Karen Reed trial and also Charlotte Lester. And as a result of our work on the Charlotte Lester case, the accused, the suspect, Mark Perkins, is sitting at the ACI. So that is completely false. But by simply bringing up a story like this, they start to go to town. That's racist. I put a lot of people are not pleased with the idea that Bad Bunny is going to be the entertainment at the Super Bowl. Now, I don't understand people that don't just scroll past. I see people, who cares? Well, it is the most watched musical performance. It is. And the thing about that Bad Bunny, that's not Bad Bunny. But the thing about, yeah, that's right. Why do you keep picking on these stand-up people? Allegedly possessing a ghost gun. Now, what they do when they get these guns, by the way, is trace them. And a lot of times they could be traced to a crime that was committed. So, but I want to just touch on the whole thing with Bad Bunny is what would lead us to believe that this individual is not going to somehow, this Bad Bunny, who all the songs are in Spanish, what would lead us to believe that he's not going to try to make some kind of a political statement? So the fact of the matter is, I love why would a moderator be messaging me while I'm live? I don't know. I try to be patient, folks. There's always like one in the group, but I could see for people to just say, oh, who cares? Well, it is the most watched musical performance around the world, really. I mean, for the amount of people, and notice for those, maybe some people don't pay attention, but as far as it is worldwide because of the amount, the NFL just had a game in Dublin, and then they have, they play in Germany, and they play in London, and they play in Brazil. And so the NFL continues to actually, the NFL continues to just be a huge force around the world. So therefore, the Super Bowl and a performance of the Super Bowl takes on even that much more importance. But folks, I want to remind you about ServPro at Providence. If you ever have an emergency, and it can happen out of nowhere, suddenly you have a fire, or suddenly out of nowhere you have a flood. ServPro at Providence, fast, thorough, professional. You can call them at 401 941 5500. 401 941 5500. ServPro at Providence. They'll be there. Fast, thorough, professional. You can depend on ServPro at Providence for restoration, reliability, and results. Call ServPro at Providence today, 401 941 5500. So I want to just pull up, because so many people, and I get there's, the woke crowd, they feel that you're supposed to pretend, oh, isn't this great, that Bad Bunny is going to perform. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to pretend. I don't know the music. I believe it's all in Spanish. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's from Puerto Rico, but they seem all excited because they're going to have a performer from Puerto Rico. So, but what I'm saying, apparently it is Jay-Z who was mixed up with all the P. Diddy nonsense, that it's Jay-Z that was the one that actually picked the act. And so suddenly you have people that, all cheering on, like, this is going to be great, and all you people are upset about it. So, and all I posted was, are you looking forward to the Super Bowl halftime show? So he's in a dress, he's got high heels. Now, again, I don't know the music. So, but that's all I asked, was that question. Are you looking forward to the Super Bowl halftime show? The amount of comments, how dare you? That is racist. How can you ask that question? So then, of course, we doubled down a little bit, and then we posted, should President Trump try to stop this performance? Now, I get it, that the Super Bowl performance, and I say that as someone that I've attended 4 Super Bowls. I saw, I was actually at the one in 2004 in Houston, where it was Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, and where that whole thing happened. And then that, changed a lot of the rules and so forth. And then anyhow, Tom Petty performed at one. And then I'm trying to think who, the Rolling Stones performed. I went to the Super Bowl in Detroit. And then who was the Super Bowl in Jacksonville? It might have been Paul McCartney or Prince. I don't remember. But anyhow, so I know that it's only like 14 minutes or 15 minutes or somewhere like that. But why is it? My question is, like, why is it? So if someone doesn't want to hear that music, a Spanish guy, all the songs are in Spanish. So if you don't want to hear a Spanish guy in a dress, that makes you racist. It doesn't make anyone racist. What would be wrong with like a Morgan Wallen? I'm going to talk about Coventry in just a moment. I posted the Babylon Bee, who I like a lot, Sal likes. NFL hoping to win back conservatives with Super Bowl performance by Spanish-speaking man in dress. Listen, I don't know what to make of it, but what I have a problem with is somehow, well, we should all be celebrating it. So no, it's not going to end the world. But what I want to get to is it's this attitude that this can't even be discussed, that no one can even say, no one, if you don't want to hear this act, Spanish speaking man in a dress, well, then that's because that's not the case. If someone says, I don't feel like eating Chinese food tonight, that doesn't make them a racist towards people that are Asian. If someone says, I don't care for the music of pick a person, that I don't, I don't like the music of Coldplay. Oh, so you're racist against white people? No, it's not a matter of that. Why does it have to be that way? But what I don't get is, but why do we have to pretend that this is going to be a great thing? That's the part that I don't understand. So there are some people, and I get it, like with the politically correct crowd, they're all saying, isn't this, it's fantastic. Oh my God, now like it's so incredible. Like a Pro FM or I don't know, light rock, like that type of crowd. Well, actually, for that matter, I mean, HJY, you're home for rock and roll, 94 HJY. I mean, they are probably the most woke rock station in the country. But actually, a lot of the rock and roll crowd, they've all actually become the very politically correct left crowd. It's really the country acts that don't go along with that foolishness. Yeah, it is brave to wear an outfit like that. No question about it. But what I take exception, and I just want to clarify, all right, so that's who got arrested in North Providence. Listen, it doesn't make someone a racist if I'm reporting they're going to get their day in court. They're going to be able to plead. We're going off what the North Providence police have reported. And I think it should be concerning to people. And notice, one of the things in Rhode Island is our judges are very, very lenient towards years ago. If you were riding around with a suspended license or a suspended, an unregistered vehicle, they used to tow it. Now, forget it. They don't tow it at all. All right, I do want to touch on, because a lot of people have been talking about it. Let's remove him. But the Bad Bunny thing, I don't know why, if you don't want to hear that music, well then that, well it's very clear. It's obvious that you're racist because you should want to hear a Spanish speaking man in a dress for whatever reason. I don't know all the acts that have played. I don't know who they asked, and maybe they're unavailable. So that also comes into play. But what I do know, I'll say this about this individual, is he apparently refused to play the United States because ICE started jumping into action and enforcing the law. So suddenly now, but he's willing to come and play in the United States to play the Super Bowl. I would just, who wants to, you're watching the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be the Patriots, and then suddenly now we have to listen, as you don't think a Spanish speaking man in a pink dress who hates ICE, won't tour the United States because of ICE, that he's not going to make a political statement. I would be very surprised if that individual does not, in fact, make a political statement. So my point is, why should we have to listen to something like that? Why? Why should we have to listen to a Spanish-speaking man in a pink dress that wants to tell us and put it in our face that he's against ICE? Now, I'm going to touch on Coventry right now because a lot of people are buzzing about it. But folks, I want to remind you about Watson Materials, especially this time of year. Outside, you can really, it's remarkable how much you're going to enjoy the outside with Watson Materials, the largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Call Sean and request a quote today at Watson Materials, 401-885-0600. This is the perfect time to make the most of your outdoor space, and it is really incredible what they have. Landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone. Some people, it really becomes an extension of your house instead of adding on to your house. Watson Materials. Call them 401-885-0600. Now, the situation in Coventry. I saw that when I first posted on this, no charges against the driver. And apparently a relative of the driver, maybe it was the mother or someone, immediately was on the page. There's whoever the driver is. They were immediately on social media. Oh, leave her alone. And she feels bad enough. And, she's, yeah, that's right, Charles here. And she feels bad enough. But I'm hearing from parents that are very upset about it. Plus, this is someone that had children in the vehicle, in the car. And this whole business of it's mechanical error. Now, I posted the video. To me, that seemed like someone that was going at a pretty good clip. Pretty good speed. Now, right now, there's been no charges filed at this time against the operator. The driver's cooperating. Standardized field sobriety. Tests were conducted at the scene. No signs of impairment. There were 2 other juveniles in the vehicle. Both evaluated, released uninjured at the scene. Now, they say that they are continuing to investigate. But if you watch the video, and again, we have it posted on our page. If you watch that video, I just find it that apparently the driver's mother and some other family members are being very aggressive going after people and saying that, it was a mechanical error from the car and she didn't do anything wrong. But I don't know. Then there's other people posting that this is someone that hasn't been driving that long. And one person posted they've only had their license for a month. But if you watch the speed, and again, I do have the video posted, they were going at a pretty good clip, meaning, maybe that's not the right term. They were traveling. The car seemed to be operating fine. So I don't know why. And then, obviously, I get some vulgar messages of friends of the driver and I have no idea who the driver is. Now, that's also interesting. They didn't release the name of the driver, but I understand why some of the parents were upset that it just, again, if you saw the video, it certainly, the car backs up and then it whips around and goes right into the fence. So, I also take exception with she feels bad enough as opposed to what? So is that what things are now turning into? Oh, okay. Well, I didn't realize she feels bad. Oh, all right. Well, then I guess there should be no punishment. Like what? I don't even know how to respond to that. It's kind of, it's akin to me of Governor Mckee when asked about the bridge saying, I closed the bridge to keep everyone safe. I should be commended for closing the bridge. I come back to, what were the other options? Keep it open? That's nothing to be commended about. What are you talking about? that talking point that Governor Mckee uses, hey, I'm the one that closed it. Was that controversial in the office? Let me tell you about quality asphalt seal coating. Where is he going with that, by the way? Hey, I'm the one that closed the bridge. There were a number of people on my staff that said we should keep it running, even though it was literally shaking and collapsing. I would question who's on your staff that was fighting you on closing the bridge. Folks, this is the time. Get yourself on the list with Corey, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. They'll epoxy your garage. You know, that's a great project, but you have to get on the list because they only do it for a few more weeks and months and they're going to shut down for the wintertime. Get your garage epoxied, or at least get a free estimate from Corey. Have him epoxy your garage, patio, decorative concrete flooring. They'll also resurface a basketball court, pickleball court, tennis court. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815. They do a spectacular job with epoxy your garage. Well, folks, good afternoon. So we were supposed to have a guest, and then the guest contacted me last moment and said they can't. But just coming back to the Coventry situation, admittedly, I mean, oh no, that's not the one. That's the one I want. No charges against the driver. You got to watch the video. I'm not saying that. Oh, they definitely. I'm not saying there should be charges, but I come back to that argument, and it's kind of the argument that Governor Mckee tries to use, is if he should be commended. You know, he's waiting to be honored at the White House for closing the bridge. And I come back to I'm trying to. They knew the weekend leading into. It was, and I still, it was the Army-Navy game at Gillette. He didn't want to ruin the weekend. They knew on that Friday, they knew that week how bad it was. He rolled the dice, kept it open all day, week, all over the weekend, and then into Monday. And then he sent a DOT director, Peter Alviti, on live TV to announce the Washington Bridge was closing, as Governor Mckee was attending basketball practice at Hope High School. That there's nothing. Listen, if you're a retired grandfather and you'd like to give the students a pep talk at Hope High School, then that would be fine. But we needed someone to take action. Don't forget that night, Governor Mckee still stopped off at Igliozzi, who works at DOT. No one has lost their job. Igliozzi had a fundraiser that night because he wanted to run for Attorney General. And all the people of DOT went by the fundraiser. And then even, Governor Mckee stopped by the fundraiser. But I don't understand why they feel, or somehow why he thinks that is a strong talking point of he's the guy that closed the bridge. Right now, his polling numbers are brutal. And his polling numbers are brutal. They're talking about having hearings involving the Washington Bridge. Now we find out he hid the report. He wasn't telling everyone what was going on. I'm just trying to figure out why on earth he would think that he should be running for re-election. But it comes back to what I have talked about, which is it's really, they feel that they can manipulate the ballots. Governor Mckee, does he think that somehow between now and next September that he's going to turn things around, that somehow between now and next September, that's when the primary is going to be, that he's going to come out with some policies? And absolutely not. So what on earth would make him think that he would be able to make things happen and get the voters behind him? He's not convinced of that. the whole reason, essentially, that he's running for re-election is they just feel they know how to game the system, how to manipulate the votes. And they go into the assisted living and the nursing homes, and they feel they can pull out enough votes. Because if you look at the basic polling numbers for Governor McKee, and I want to be very clear, he doesn't even have good polling numbers within the Democrat Party. Forget about general election. But I think what this is going to come down to is, do people really think that Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee has earned the right and the privilege to be the governor and the leader, the CEO of the state from now until 2030? I don't know of anyone that thinks that way. The state is, as someone sent me a message today, in so many different areas, the state is crumbling right now. So I just don't see, I don't see how or what would lead him to believe that he can turn things around short of just being able to manipulate the ballots. Hey, folks, I want to remind you, if you need a good plumber, J&B Plumbing, they skilled professionals. Maybe you have a problem with, you need your damaged water pipes or clogged pipelines, replace a water heater, all plumbing, J&B Plumbing. Call them 401-743-9153, 401-743-9153 for J&B Plumbing. You never know when suddenly, boom, you need a plumber. Call J&B Plumbing, 401-743-9153. Now, as far as the government, well, let me just finish on the Coventry situation. I don't know where that's going to lead. I don't know where that's going to lead, and I think one of the reasons they're not charging, no charges on the driver. I think part of that happened on Monday. I think it's just because there was no loss of life, and there was no child that was seriously injured. There was a child who was injured, and there were children that had to be treated at Hasbro. But I think that's what it comes down to, that if in fact there had been more serious damage into the building, because that's what it came out to, then I think that we would find that then I think they would. But I think because of that, they don't feel that they have to charge the driver. I know it caught a lot of people off guard. I know a lot of the parents are upset because a number of them have reached out to me, and none of them want to take legal action. I just wonder about the setup there. When you think about it, where most people have a playground is in someone's backyard, or think of a regular playground at a school or something like that. It's well away from the road. I don't know how they have this setup where they just have that wooden fence, and it's not only close to the road, it's actually on the road. So I understand the parents, but I just wonder who's inspecting some of this stuff. Meaning, how did that pass that you could be that close to the road? I mean, look at that. It's the sidewalk, and then you have 15 kids behind that wall, and 15 kids that don't live there. So I think we're finding more and more where sometimes people, there's a false sense of security. They certainly need to improve things. As far as Governor McKee, he's not going to turn anything around. He's just that's what it all comes down to. That's what it seemingly really comes down to, is that they feel that they're going to be able to manipulate the vote. Otherwise, he's not running for re-election. Does he have the ability to He's not lowering taxes. That's another thing, by the way. In Congress, the Democrats, they want to continue to raise taxes. I think the next couple of years, I'm for one, I also want to, I see a lot of people post comments and they call it the MAGA crowd and blah, blah, blah. I want to remind some people that last November there were two options. President Trump was one option. The other option was Vice President Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And Harris blew through 1.5 billion in her campaign. Those were the options. Harris, since then, on her book tour, it's been a disaster. The Democrat Party now is saying that they wouldn't support her. Her political career is over. She wouldn't choose Mayor Pete because he's gay. She blamed Biden for a bad debate performance. She had terrible turnover in the staff. They were spending hundreds of thousands a day. She blew through 1.5 billion. I think the number was 400 million a day. 400,000 a day. I forget the number, but something like that. I think pretty close to 500,000 a day. Yeah. My point is, so all of these people that are complaining about President Trump, what was the option? What was the option? And I'm not saying that in a defensive manner, but whether it's Gabe Amo or Seth Magaziner or just various people in our state, I am tired of these people that announce for office and the first thing they say is that we're going to, I'm going to be there fighting Trump. Are any of these people able to work with anyone? One of the things about business is many times in business, you have to interact with people that you may not always agree with. You have to learn to get along with people. In the workplace, you have to learn to be able to interact and get along with all different types of people. In order, people that I've met and dealt with who have been very successful in business, one of the skills they have is they, most of the time, are very good at dealing with all different types of individuals. So to me, it is a non-starter when someone announces they're running for office and the first thing they announce is table for one salute to anyone that voted for President Trump. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take on President Trump. Then why? What are you even running for office for? There's no one right now on the landscape out there on the Democrat side. Seth Magaziner, I'm fighting against the Trump. Gabe Amo, I am fighting him every day. Sheldon Whitehouse, I'm fighting 24/7 against this administration. Why can't we have someone that could work with the party in power and just say, they maybe they're difficult, but I'm going to find a way to work with them. I may not agree with everything, but I'm going to represent the people. I wish you'd have one person that would say, I don't agree with everything. However, many of my constituents support the administration, so I'm going to do my best to try to work with them. You don't get that. No, not with this crowd. And the same goes for Mass, whether it's Maura Healey, right? Or whether it is Elizabeth Warren and the whole thing. Everything with this crowd. Cicilline was always like that. Cicilline in Congress, we are going to fight and we're going to fight. They think they're giving like a halftime pep talk to a high school football team. We're going to be fighting and we're going to nonstop fighting and we're going to fight them at every turn. And all we're going to do is fight. And it's getting nowhere. Yeah, it's getting nowhere. I don't know. That's a good question. Could there be civil lawsuits in Coventry? 100%. But it would be against the driver. Well, probably both, actually. Hold on. No, probably both. Yeah, because I mean, I had someone that was saying that daycare, that they're not even a fully licensed daycare. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't know enough about what the approval process is in Coventry. I'm just surprised that you could have that number of children that are right there along the road, and the only thing separating them in a vehicle is uh, how thick is the fence? Half-inch thick of wood, half inches of wood. It does seem pretty dangerous to me. Folks, I want to remind you, this is the time. Get on the list. J. Perry Paving. Are you a veteran? Well, they have a special package for veterans. Call J. Perry Paving today, 401 732 1730. 401 732 1730. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate for any project. But you have to do it now, because then they're another one. They shut down for the winter. Call J. Perry Paving. Maybe you have a neighbor that also wants to get their driveway paved. Maybe you have two neighbors. Now it's a party. J. Perry Paving. Call them 401 732 1730 for letter J. J. Perry Paving. Someone also had asked me, who did I recommend as far as for fall cleanup? JD Lawn Care Tree Service. They do a fantastic job. You can call them at 441-0154. They're located right in Coventry. JD Lawn Care and Tree Service, 401-441-0154. So as far as the government shutdown, I don't know where it's going to go. I do know there's the government has far too many people on the payroll. If this is a way to get rid of some of these federal workers, terrific. I'm looking at a headline right now. Will it be days, weeks, months till the funding runs dry? I don't know. So I don't know how it's going to go. It was very refreshing yesterday to listen to Dave LeVake of Brood Awakenings, that they've started that group now, the League. And he's exactly right. The state budget is so out of whack in Rhode Island. It's completely ridiculous. One of the problems is the state has far too many state workers, and then they get them into union positions. And what do you think goes into when they arrive at a contract? No layoffs. Nope, can't lay anybody off. There's far too many state workers. We don't need all those state workers. The state of Rhode Island, the budget is insanity. As I have mentioned, the state of New Hampshire is a bigger state, almost basically same population as Rhode Island, but a larger state. No income tax and no taxes, and they do a 2-year budget. Their budget is half of the budget of the state of Rhode Island, the state of New Hampshire. So there is room for someone that's willing to come in and do it the right way. The state would take off if being sandwiched in the middle of Connecticut and Massachusetts, if the state would be run more like New Hampshire. Listen, if you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2:00 news. Everyone else, we'll see you later tonight on Road Patrol Live.